Good. One moment. It hasn't ticked over.
Is it good?
Nope, it hasn't ticked over yet. There we go. Good morning, or good evening, good night, whatever the fuck time of day it
Good
is.
morning, Vietnam!
And welcome to the show tonight. Welcome to the zoo. The minions with me this evening are Inquisitor.
Hello.
Then Johnny.
There is tourism in Nebraska.
It is not a valid tourist location. Fuck you. And then Adam.
How's it going?
And of course, as it is once again a Friday, I'm the keeper for this evening, Sanguine. And I'm doing rather spectacularly. I had a fantastic dinner that I just finished a little bit ago, along with a bottle of Smithwick's and a couple fingers of a very nice double wood rum. But how about the rest of you? Let's go Inquisitor first.
I'm just at work, my guy. I didn't make anything good for dinner at all.
Fair enough. And then, do you want to kick that over to Johnny, or shall we go to Adam next?
Adam can go first.
You've been put on the spot, Adam.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, no, I blew a lot.
Let me tell you about all the great tourist spots in Nebraska.
God damn it. It's not a valid tourist site.
Come on, there's probably some nice spots in Nebraska.
There might be spots within Nebraska that could be counted as tourist
Whoa,
sites.
hold on. That
But
alarm.
Nebraska,
that
in and of
beat me.
itself,
Wow. That's a
is
foul.
not a tourist site.
Oh, yeah, I'll agree with that. But yeah, for today, I managed to spend a lot more money than I intended. But yes, here we go.
So did I.
When I picked up both this DNF fighter that Quiz was playing, and also Street Fighter 6, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, and both are very fun, and I'm very happy. Good purchases, but expensive.
You did that, and I bought 3 whiskeys.
Oh, there you go.
And Johnny?
I made my car payment.
There you go.
Woo!
I made pot roast, actually.
Oh, very nice. What sort and what flavor profile?
Offhand, I can't tell you.
You don't know what you ate?
It was a pot roast I bought at Costco.
Okay.
I just used beef stock with it, and just baked potato and threw some carrots in there.
Fair enough.
Okay. Meat, potato, and carrots. It's pretty classic pot roast.
Yeah.
Yep. With a standard European stock.
Oh,
I say a good thing to do for those kinds of pot roast too is to take a whole onion and put it in there while you make it, and then take out the whole onion when you eat it.
Yep. Put it in just very roughly chopped. And then one thing that you can do to thicken up the sauce is you can push that roasted onion through a sieve and mix the resulting juice and starches and all that good shit into the broth, and you get this very consistent onion flavor throughout the broth. Thickens it up beautifully. It's amazing.
Someone knows that Quiz is on a call.
Yeah, I know, right? So I had to mute. I usually just use either a roux or cornstarch.
Yep, that's another good way. I tend to mix it up depending on how I want to do things. Often I'll do a roux. Sometimes if I want all of the veg that I put in to have a full flavor within it, but I don't want the chunks of veg, then I'll run them through a fine mesh and use that to thicken, because it turns out amazing. It adds a bit more flavor.
I was gonna say it's basically just like incorporate, like mashing down the vegetables to incorporate it into a like a stew sort of broth at that point.
Exactly. And then you can thicken that up and make it a nice, rich gravy with a really strong flavor to it, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So
I personally like the I like the savory sort of taste of the meat. That's why I usually just leave it alone.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
For me, I tend to want a lot of that beefiness, so I choose a good, very beefy cut. And then I'll have some of the onion that I'll just keep and serve with the meat, as well as the potato I'll keep and serve with the meat. Then part of the onion I'll run through the sieve, thicken up that gravy, spoon that gravy over top, because it's just the veg and the meat juices in that gravy, or the beer, because quite often I'll do like a Guinness pot roast. And it's just fucking amazing. And
there's a
roux with the UX, not a kangaroo.
yeah.
Though
yeah,
you
roux
can
is an
do
ROUX. Yeah.
though you can do a roux pot roast.
Yes. Although I've heard kangaroo meat is extremely tough.
It is, which is why doing a pot roast with it works rather lovely, because
You'd have to tenderize the shit out of it, though.
No, you just slow cook that shit.
Yeah, but I mean,
Slow
it
cook it so
definitely
that
helps to
everything-
tenderize it first, too.
You can, but if you cook it slow enough, then you don't really need to tenderize, because all the connective tissue gelatinizes, making it that nice, lovely, soft pot roast. And roux meat does taste amazing if done right.
Never had it. There's a recipe that I saw in Max Miller's book that I really, really want to try my hand at making. But it'll take a year to make.
Which one?
Mead.
Nice. Is it a sack, weak, show, Mathghamhain, Melomel?
I have no idea. It's extremely primitive. Let's put it that way.
So it's just the honey, water, yeast?
Honey, water, yeast, and then like any sort of spices that you want to add to it. He recommends, I think, like nutmeg is one of them, and like a couple of others.
That would be a Mathghamhain then. So the difference between all the different types of meads that I just mentioned are, you have the weak meads, as well as the strong or grand or great. Those are all interchangeable. Grand, great, and there was one more term that I used and I'm blanking on it for some reason. So you have weak meads, which are low alcohol content meads that are typically watered after their fermentation. You have the great meads, which are much higher alcohol content. So a great mead is 12% and above. But both the weak and the great... Oh, sack. That was the other one that I used. Sack is also a synonym for great, show, grand. All of those are the same type of mead. And those are high ABV that are unwatered beyond just the water that you use in order to brew them. And they're both types are just honey, water, yeast. No other ingredients. When you start talking Mathghamhains, that's when you start adding in herbs and spices, When you're talking braggots, that's a hopped mead, sometimes also a malted mead. When you're talking a brochette, then that is a caramelized mead. Then you have Acerglins that are maple meads. You have Mellomels, which use fruits. You have Sicers, which are a bastard of ciders and meads. And a shit ton of others. Black meads are one of my favorites. There's a black currant and mead. Absolutely delicious.
Miller has a couple of recipes that use currant. I just have no idea where the hell you would even get currant in around today.
Yeah, it's difficult in a large chunk of the U.S. Some areas you can get it. Like when I was living on the East Coast, I could find currant here and there from time to time. But Midwest, if you find currant, it's normally going to be dried currants, which not quite going to yield the same result if you try to use them. But I'm willing to bet you could probably order currant.
I'm sure you could. Just need to know where to do it.
And currant is delicious. Black currant and red currant, both fantastic. But I did end up hijacking that once mead talk started happening. So, anyone have any interesting shit happen today to them? Anything that they're dying to talk about? Any strange bits of news that you heard about or anything like that?
10th edition's core rules just dropped.
Oh.
You didn't even play a game of 9th, and 10th is already out.
Yeah. So, are they good? Are they shit? Or are they still being reviewed?
I think the rules themselves are fine. It's down to the army lists and how they'll end up working out. That'll be up for debate.
So some
like the one thing that
again.
Oh, the one thing that I like is the fact that morale has changed entirely. Because morale used to be a sort of thing. It's like if you fail morale, then you have to roll all these extra dice and lose a whole shit ton of models. Now it's has its own separate effects.
Oh,
you won't get as much for your objective control and stratagems and stuff like that. But you don't lose models, which is I guess objectively speaking, better for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean that you'll have those critical moments where you'll need to take a morale test and lose a whole shit ton of models that you weren't expecting to lose.
But at the same time, that seems like it would shallow the play a little bit.
And what it does is it means that unit then now has a huge debuff, but it doesn't take it out of the fight.
Yeah, but I'm saying that having it suddenly flee the fight was something that you'd have to consider and have to kind of plan around, which
it's not quite that simple. Because you could have gone with an incredibly powerful unit that you weren't expecting to lose a fight with, but your rolls were just absolutely garbage, and you end up losing a fight that you shouldn't have lost, statistically speaking, and yet still, again, with morale, lose yet more models from a fight that you shouldn't have lost.
Yeah, I still say that sounds kind of fun to me.
Well, I like the way it works now because it doesn't take that unit out of the fight. You can still lose vital objective control, but it doesn't mean that that unit is effectively gone.
It would have been interesting if they had just decreased the chance of that happening. Though, then again, I haven't played yet, so my opinion might change the moment that I start playing. But at the same time, just looking at it from my love of history, there's a shit ton of battles that you're looking at the battle and you're going, yeah, this army is going to fucking win. And then you look at what happened and you went, holy shit. They just
Winter War says what?
With their morale.
Winter War says what?
Exactly. Winter War, or the example that I ended up talking about a little bit last night. You guys heard, I know Johnny did, but did you guys hear that Ukraine invaded Russia?
Yeah, I've been expecting to hear that for a while now, but no.
Yeah, chunk of the Ukraine Foreign Legion, including Russian units of the Ukraine Foreign Legion, ended up launching a sizable, at the very least, raid on Belgorod, which is the first major city, or rather, the first and only major city in that run towards Moscow.
Yes, and Russia deployed 1 battalion of their thermo something missile brigade. No, it was one of those. It wasn't a nuclear thing. It was one of those where it's like
the vacuum bombs.
Yeah, the vacuum bombs. Yeah. Yeah, and they were weighing whether or not to use it in their own country.
Started to order an evacuation of Belgorod. That's fucking nuts.
If we can't have it, no one will.
Well, I mean, it's...
I wonder how Russia was able to hold on to so much territory for so long.
And yeah, I just double checked, and I was thinking the right name for it. It is thermobaric.
Yeah, thermobaric.
Yep, thermobaric vacuum bombs. And they have most of theirs as artillery pieces. The U.S. has most of ours as bombs.
ICBMs.
Well, we have a shit ton of bombs, and then we have a shit ton of rockets and missiles. Whereas Russia, all of theirs are thermobaric rockets that are launched from rocket artillery pieces. Pretty much all of theirs. Not all of theirs, but pretty much all of theirs. But it's hilarious that fucking Ukraine invaded Russia. And the best part was, I was talking about this last night during the show, the response that the Ukrainian government gave to the international community when it came to it, because they decided to, I can only describe it as trolling, since what they did was they did a copy and paste of the exact shit that Russia had said during Crimea. Only everywhere where it had said Crimea in the Russian version, they said Belgorod. And everywhere where it had said Ukraine was now Russia. Everywhere where it had said Russia was now Ukraine. So they were talking about how they were trying to denazify Russia. Or they were for the denazification of Russia and for the actions taken by ethnic Ukrainian and those with ties to Ukraine living in the occupied region around Belgorod. And it was just this, they know what they're doing, we know what they're doing, this is kind of fucking funny. It was just the diplomatic no you.
So I guess I need to order some more models from Ukraine now to offset this, because the conflict is just going to keep going on further now because Putin's fucking hurt pride. He's going to sit there and try to claw back a victory out of it.
But the thing is that on paper, Russia should have stomped. And that's what everyone's been saying ever since the start. On paper, Russia should have stomped. There's one major problem. Russia was the Soviet Union for a long fucking time. And then it became what Russia currently is, which is a strongman regime, which that isn't a chastisement of it from my perspective, because some areas you kind of need a strongman regime as the interim between totalitarian rule going towards non-totalitarian. You need a strongman in order to keep all the different disparate powers in check.
The problem is that Putin is not trying to be a strongman. He's trying to be a dictator.
Well, all strongmen kind of tried to be, but it depends on how successful they are and depends on how they set it up after their time.
So that means we have to wait until Putin dies for Russia to act different?
Well, that is functionally what he's trying to set it up as, which...
Yeah. He's hoping for a military coup.
That... History shows that...
How many generals is he going to have left? Come on, man.
History shows that this tends to be a very bad idea when you have the military coup. And that's the one part that's making me go, every time that I hear people say, well, we need to have a coup in Russia. I'm going, there's a greater chance that Russia becomes worse, not better after a coup.
I'd say there's also a good chance that the entire country will just fall apart after a coup.
Yeah. But the problem is that the country can't really survive broken up either.
No, it won't. It'll get absorbed into all of these different sort of disparate factions. You think China's gonna, let like Siberia and Eastern Russia just lay?
Oh, no.
If they can see an opportunity, they'll take it.
Yeah, I don't want China getting fucking Siberia.
Yeah.
So
it gives them a place to ship the Uyghurs.
Again, not for that. I would much rather if...
I think I'm for a complete dissolution of both of those countries.
But I'd want it done strategically. I'd want China first, then Russia. Because Russia first, then China means that China starts claiming Russia.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that it's a shit show. And what it has shown, though, is that the old thing that was common knowledge ages ago of just because communists and former communists have this shit written down on paper somewhere doesn't mean that it actually exists, doesn't mean that it actually works, doesn't mean that it's actually there. So, yeah, on paper, Russia had a ridiculous military. Then we started seeing Russia try to use its military. And we realized, holy shit, they don't have the fuel for their military. They have one of the largest fuel reserves in the world, and they don't fuel their... What fucking corruption is causing this shit? Because it's been a problem in Russia for ages, in fact, over a century now, that, yeah, communism breeds corruption. that corruption hasn't faded since communism fell. So that shit is still the main issue they're having. All their material is shit. All the reports that they get can't really be trusted because someone's trying to save face rather than just going, yep, this is the fucking situation. And the bullshit with, well, America can't handle our true hypersonics. They shot it down. Well, it's not a true hypersonic because it doesn't have the capability of doing this, that, and the other. But this other one is a true hypersonic. It got shot down. That one's not a true hypersonic either. It's just a... What the fuck? It's all people trying to seem stronger than they actually are.
Well, you got to think of why that is too. The reason why most countries lie about stuff like that is to gain political favor from their populace, right?
Yep.
Because that means that then the populace is on board with the war. They'll contribute to it. They'll contribute, financially, manpower, so on and so forth. With Putin's totalitarian regime, he doesn't need that from the public. He'll just strong-arm the public into supporting the war. So what is he doing it for? The international, fair?
Well, there's a couple different parts of it. So part of it is the elements that he knows that he's bullshitting about. Yeah, it's for the international. It's for being able to go, okay, we have this capability, so don't fuck with us. We have this capability, don't fuck with us. But part of it's also the way that the country works. It's very top-down. So Putin says, I want these types of missiles. And then that goes to one of his key figures in his inner circle. Then that person delegates it, and 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 it goes down the line like 20 fucking times. And the person who ends up actually having to do the job, they know if they don't say that they've done the job, they're going to get fucked. So they tweak what they were actually able to achieve, and then the next person tweaks what they were just told about, and then the next person tweaks. So it becomes a big fish story every fucking time.
Well, it's funny then because all they're doing, in effect, if that's the case, is making Putin look like a fool.
Yeah, but it saves face for them at that moment. The fact that it didn't actually do what they thought that it would, they weren't expecting to actually have to prove it.
Guys, I'm going to step out for a bit. If you guys are still going later, I will jump back in.
Copy.
Okay.
Right.
But yeah, that's the way that this shit has always worked when it comes to communist and formerly communist nations, because Russia is not communist, but it has a lot of the old school framework still in place, shall we say?
Well, it's a lot of the communist corruption.
Yep, and that's where it comes in. And that's the reason why the major disasters of communism that everyone thinks of, all of those have the elements that I'm talking about right now, where it was dictated from the top down, and then it was embellished from the bottom up. So, at a certain point, yeah, the leader might realize that they're being lied to, or that they're being deceived, but by then it's a bit later, and they then have to decide, are they going to be the ones who say that this failed? And then it looks bad on them, or how are they going to handle it? So what they do is they continue pushing the lie further, which is why you had communist countries, while they were starving to death ended up exporting massive amounts of grain all around the world. You saw this with Russia. You saw this with China. You saw this with Ukraine when Ukraine was under communist rule. You saw this with every single communist nation. Their people are starving. They're exporting grain in order to show, see, we have so much grain that we can give it to fucking everyone. And then you find out later that, oh, their people are starving to death. I mean, shit, North Korea is still trying to export grain to people. And again, it comes down to a lot of them don't think that they're going to have to actually have what they said will happen demonstrated to be true. When you're designing a missile that you don't think will ever be used, you don't really think about the fact that you're embellishing it. And because there's no external control, it's seen as something that's safe to do to a certain extent. As long as you don't go too far. If you go too far at your step, then you're going to be the person whose head gets on the block. And that's the thing that they're finding out now, that all their amazing shit that they've been saying is the latest and greatest. Like the T-14 that's supposed to be this big badass. Where is it? All the other things that they've said, oh yeah, this is the most ridiculous. Where the fuck is it? And then they think that a lot of US shit is the same way, so they start looking at like the Patriots and SAMs and shit like that, and they're going, oh yeah, like you could possibly do X, Y, and Z, not realizing that no, we tested our shit. When we say that we can intercept ridiculously fast shit, it's because we've intercepted ridiculously fast shit. I'm trying to remember which naval gun or which naval anti-aircraft equipment it was. It was either anti-aircraft or anti-missile. It was some sort of protection rig on a ship. Shot down a satellite as it was launching. That was moving at much faster than the shit that they're saying, oh yeah, there's no way that you'd possibly be able to shoot this down. Yeah, we shot down satellites as they were being launched, moving much fucking faster. Yeah, we've shot down 2 different satellites. But I'm saying I can't remember which exact bit of equipment did that. And there's a lot of people that don't understand what certain words mean when they're used. Like, most of our aerial defense systems are based on interception, not chasing. But everyone seems to think that interception means chasing for some reason. So they look at the speed of our defense systems and they look at the speed of whatever missile or rocket it is, and they're going, well, that is much slower, so it can't ever keep up with this. It can't chase it. And no. Interception. It's not chasing it. It's just making sure that it ends up in the same place at the same time so that they hit each other.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of people that don't understand that. So they start talking about how, oh, this is so much slower, it can't do what it's being said. No, we've tested it. We know how to intercept shit. We know how to do this. We've done it. It's not the same big fish story where every section of the line keeps on building it up a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more.
I say, when the Patriots were first deployed in Persian Gulf, they were imperfect in their ability to intercept missiles. But the technology has advanced a lot since 1992.
And also, one of the things is that you have to look at what each individual system is actually designed to do, because different systems are designed for different ranges and different speeds. So, yeah, a Patriot defense system is not going to be able to shoot down everything. It's not intended to shoot down everything. It's intended to shoot down specific things within specific range that move at specific speeds. And it does those really well, and it learns as it goes. So it gets better and better every time that it's used. But when you're talking about defense systems like that, the name of the game is layered defense systems now. So you have the ridiculously long-range system, you have a mid-range system, you have a close-range system, and you have a very close-range system. And each of those targets a different sort of thing at very different ranges. So it's irksome every time that it's, well, this isn't able to handle this thing that it was never designed to handle. Yeah, it wasn't meant to. That's kind of like saying, well, your crate pan can't cook a stew. Yeah, it's a crate pan. It's not a stew pot. It's not a Dutch oven. It's a crate pan. It's very flat. It doesn't have the depth, so it's not designed. Why are you pointing this out as if that's a flaw of the crate pan? That's how a lot of this shit comes across, where it's, well, it can't do everything. Yeah, it's not supposed to do everything.
I mean, it's only a cake pan.
Say again?
So it's only a cake pan.
Well, I was saying a crate pan. A cake pan is also something that if you were looking at a cake pan and you were going, well, that cake pan is not good for making crepe. Yeah, it isn't designed to. Use the proper bit of equipment for the proper thing.
Use the better pan.
Yes. And this is something that people can understand when they're dealing with shit that they deal with constantly. Because when you're talking about computer software, Word is not going to be the program that allows you to download games. That isn't a failure of Word. That's just not.
I don't know if you should be challenging programmers like that. I mean, I'm fairly certain people can learn to write Doom on Microsoft Word.
They might be able to, but that's using an extremely suboptimal approach.
Well, they put Doom on a Tamagotchi, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, I stand by my... It's an extremely suboptimal approach. Use the proper shit for the proper thing. Because, yeah, well, I can cook other things in a crate pan. I would still rather use the proper pan for whatever the fuck I'm making. And this is something that we understand when it comes to all that shit. But then when it comes to military things, well, it doesn't do everything. Yeah, it's not supposed to.
That's another failing of the DoD, though, too, because they do want ubiquity.
Yeah.
In their R&D. And so they also want redundancy. So, you know, it's weird when you see the higher-ups in the actual organization sit there and say, well, we want this that does all of this. Well, sir, all you're going to get is, you know, this to do this job. you want anything else, we're going to have to design a completely different system and we'll be able to do it. No, I want it to do everything. It doesn't work like that way, sir.
And that's normally the sign of someone who's never actually been in what they're instructing people to do. And that isn't always a bad thing.
So officer training, got it.
Second?
Officer training, got it.
Yeah. But I'm saying that it isn't always a bad thing to have a layman in the room when you're talking about a problem. Because a good example of this is in the early days of Minions, we were trying to figure out how to set up streams when people were going over towards OBS. So it was Hammer, who is very knowledgeable about computers and how shit works. Polly, who was fairly knowledgeable. And then they decided to pull me in onto this, and I am damn near tech-tarded.
Tech-tarded.
If it's explained enough, and I'm given enough time, I can understand it. If you
I like
hand
that
me a new
term.
bit of tech, I'm going to look at it like a fucking caveman. So, like I said,
but
damn
how?
near-
You're probably the
Yeah,
youngest
damn-
of the bunch.
Yeah.
but I'm the most tech-tarded of the lot of them. So,
Oh.
when it came to that, and they were all talking about, like, well, we could do this approach, but that has this issue, or we could do this approach, but that would have this issue. And my answer was the absolute retardation of the Inception stream. And both of them went, that is one of the dumbest way it would work. And now we do the Inception stream when people do that. We pop open something that we aren't actually streaming from, but it allows us to get everyone organized in one place, get the audio set up from one source, and then we pipe that in through the stream, and hey, son of a bitch, that works. It is dumb as hell, but it fucking works. And it was something that they didn't think of because it's dumb as hell. So when you get a bunch of smart people that know what they're talking about in a room, they will often try to think of a smart answer, and sometimes you just need a dumb answer.
Yep, I agree. Gives you that different edge. Oh, damn.
Sometimes you need the extremely specialized bit of equipment. Sometimes the dude who says, have we tried hitting it with a hammer, is the one who's right.
What was that? Sorry, I missed that.
I said, sometimes when you're looking for an answer to something, you do need that highly advanced, developed answer that takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of work into it. Sometimes the dude who just looks at it and goes, have we tried hitting it with a hammer? Sometimes that guy's right. And sometimes the solution is just really unga boonga, hit it with hammer.
We call that percussive maintenance.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
Guns of
initiate the
maintenance.
percussive maintenance, yeah.
Oh.
And then you initiate the rites of activation, and then seal it with the ritualistic blow to the side of the casing.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that I am very much a supporter of. When you have a problem, get all the best people that you can into a room, and then get at least one person who's intelligent but doesn't know what the fuck this shit is.
I mean, that's more words to describe essentially what I've been saying for a long time that Hollywood needs. Hollywood needs a don't do that, that's dumb editor.
Yeah. Only the don't do that, that's dumb is kind of the inverse, because the don't do that, that's dumb editor is a person who's intelligent that is looking at all the idiots going, no, stop, 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 spit it out, no, not food, drop. Whereas the person that I'm talking about is the hit it. Did we plug it in? Did we remember to flip on the power? They just come up with the very stupid answers that most people are going, of course. But every so often, that's the answer that it's a, oh, son of a bitch.
Have you tried rebooting it?
Yeah. As aggravating as those questions are, sometimes those questions are the right question. Like the infamous, okay, so you have your computer plugged in. Yes, it's plugged into a power strip. Okay. And what's that power strip plugged into? Well, it's plugged into a power strip. So you have a power strip plugged into a power strip. Yes. Okay, so what's that power strip plugged into? It's plugged into an extension cord. So you have a power strip daisy chained into a power strip plugged into an extension cord. Yep, and what's that extension cord plugged into? It's plugged into a power strip. So you have 3 power strips? No, I have 2 power strips. Wait, it's a power strip plugged into a power strip plugged into an extension cord that's plugged into a power strip, but you only have... Is it plugged into one of the other 2 power strips? Yes.
We call that an internal circuit, Sanguine.
Yeah.
Free energy, dude.
Yeah, right? God.
Sadly, it doesn't work. Nice. Is the Switch supposed to be in the official position? But yeah, every time that you're trying to solve a problem, I recommend getting all the people that know what the fuck they're doing, and then get one person who's intelligent enough that they can kind of follow what's being said, but they don't know what the fuck it really means. That if everyone else is stymied, they're the one who ends up coming up with a stupid answer. But that stupid answer either prompts one of the others to think of an actually good answer, or they all realize, son of a bitch, that actually works, and they run with it. It's one of the things that made the space race what the space race was. Because I keep on bringing up this example every time that I think about it, because it is such a beautiful example of what we used to do when it came to shit. We needed this one type, or we wanted to use this one type of foam in the heat shielding for the space shuttles. Only problem was, no one at NASA knew how to shape that foam. So the people at NASA decided to look into, what is this foam used for? And they found out that one particular type of foam is used in surfboards. So they went out to a surfing beach where there are a bunch of people that had used this type of foam, and they asked them to be the official people to use the foam for the space mission. And the people agreed, but they agreed with one caveat, that they would be allowed surfing breaks. They were given a counter offer of, you can get surfing breaks, but any time that you take off to go surfing, you have to make up at a later time. They agreed. They started making the foam. That is the dumb guy, smart guy answer for that. Because a bunch of smart people might have gone, okay, so we just get someone to train up in it. A dumb guy goes, who uses it already? Let's not have to learn. Let's just get someone else who knows it.
I mean, I don't want to answer because, well, I don't want to be the dumb guy. I also don't want to be the smart guy. But, well, wait. I don't want to be the smart guy. Yeah, probably I don't want to answer the question properly.
So you just don't want to be in the oh shit room?
Yeah.
You want to be the
No, I can get that. That's too much responsibility.
Yeah. You want to be the dude on the line, the production line, not the one that gets called into the oh shit room.
Well,
That
I mean,
about
personally. What's that?
That about accurate?
I don't know.
Where you don't want to be the oh shit room person, but you would be willing to be the production line where you know what you're doing, you know how to do what you're doing, you do what you're doing, just leave me the fuck alone and let me do it.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And a lot of the problems that businesses have or tend to be a lack of that combo of smart and dumb and people that know what the hell they're talking about and people that don't. They have massive imbalances. So there was a good example from my job not terribly long ago where there were a bunch of decisions that were made clearly by people that don't know how the job is done and don't know the rules already in place for doing the job because they tried to dictate a practice that was going 100% against SOP. And they only stopped because they told us and we all knew what the fuck we were supposed to do. We went, that doesn't work. We aren't supposed to do it that way. And they said, well, this is the way that we want you to do it from now on. So we all went, okay, here's the SOP telling us that we can't. So you either have to change the SOP or you have to back off of this. And they decide to back off of it.
SOP standing for Standard Operating Procedure, by the way.
Yep. Is that not common parlance in most jobs?
Not really.
Okay. Because that's been in fuck ton of my jobs since EMS SOPs, correction SOPs, and now laboratory SOPs.
I mean, I'm the one that introduced it into my industrial parlance.
Fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. SOP is standard operating procedure. It is the list of shit that tells you exactly how you do things. That you must follow. If you deviate from it, it can get you shit canned or in trouble. If you follow it, then you're safe. So it's one of those things that all it takes is someone who knows the job being in the room when that was being talked about for them to go, oh, okay, let's not do that.
Wait, so did you get blocked from before, or
Say again?
did you get blocked from somewhere? Or?
Oh, no. So what I was saying is that at my job, we had a decision that came down from up high that was something that everyone that actually does the job at my work knew was a bad idea. That it would not work. And not only that it wouldn't just not work, but that we couldn't do it because it was a direct violation of our SOP. But the higher-ups did not know that it was a violation of SOP. And they did not know all the issues that it would cause if they had us do it. So when they told us what they wanted us to do, and we had to point out the issue, they originally were going, well, we don't think that it'll be as big of a deal as you guys are making it out to sound like it'll be. And we're going, no, listen to us. We do this job. It's going to cause problems. And what actually tipped it in our favor was a bunch of us went, no, we're telling you that we can't do this because of SOP and also all the problems that we brought up to you. But because you're dismissing all the problems that we brought up to you, here's the SOP telling us it is completely forbidden from doing what you're telling us to do. And they went, oh, okay, so you can't do that. Yes. Okay, so don't do that. We never have. But it's one of those things that when you don't have anyone in the room that actually does the job, you don't have anyone that is able to strike the problem.
Oh, yeah.
And you, like I said, you still need those stupid people in the room as well because they come up with interesting solutions every so often. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like if you ever want to increase your efficiency at something, give it to the smartest, laziest person that you have on staff.
Because they'll discover clever ways of doing it and doing it in the least amount of time.
Exactly. Give it to the smart, lazy person. They will cut down the number of steps while preserving the quality. The worst person to give it to is the just hard-working person. Because the hard-working person, the industrious hard-working person will just do exactly what you tell them to do.
I just wish sometimes that there's donuts and or bagels during meetings. Oh wait, yeah. Oh shit. We're on a show.
Yes, we are.
God damn it!
Hi.
I suppose you might be, yes.
No, yeah, I'm fucking bullshitting you. Actually, I was gonna say, quiz, dude. Some of these characters in DNF, I like them.
Yeah.
This dude with the sword and the gun, it's pretty cool.
Which one?
Glasses.
Oh, Hitman.
Hitman, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's pretty good. I've actually, in terms of the gun and sword guys, I've liked Troubleshooter a lot more than Hitman lately. But it's funny because there's a character in that game called Inquisitor, and I really want to be good with her. I'm not.
Come on, man. You gotta get.
I'm not. I'm not good with her. However, there is a character called Crusader, and I'm really good with him.
The dude that makes the walls?
And makes the walls and has the gigantic fuck-off hammer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, I kind of like the brawlers, I guess that what they're called. The lady in the orange and the Ryu-looking character.
Okay, so Striker and Grappler, yeah.
Yeah.
So what game is this exactly?
DNF Duel. DNF stands for Dungeon Fighters. It's part of a series by Nexon from South Korea. They originally made a hack and slash third-person sort of beat-em-up game. Mm-hmm. Their newest installment is made by Arc System Works and Aiding, who are two of the developers, one of which, Arc System Works being the company that made Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, and Aiding being the company that made Melty Blood, came together and used all of the ideas behind Dungeon Fighters and made a fighting game called DNF Duel. DNF Duel, all of the characters in it are archetypes or classes of characters. So you'll have things like Inquisitor, Striker, Vanguard, Crusader, Enchantress, and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's a 2D fighting game.
Mhm.
It's pretty fun.
It's super fun. And it's got an amazing Guilty Gear-esque heavy metal soundtrack, and it's awesome.
Nice.
The fucking ranger is a dude with like 2 guns, and he's shooting around.
Yeah, his class is Ranger, but he wields 2 revolver handguns, like a Wild West gunfighter.
Very nice.
And all of his moves, all of them are projectiles. All of them.
Okay. So that reminded me of another game that came out that you might find amusing, Inquisitor. Did you see the newest HoloLive fan game?
Oh, you're talking about oh god, what is it called? Holoduel? No. Tock.
The HoloLive fighting game, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the HoloLive fighting game. I just don't remember the name of it now. Oh, Idol Showdown. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Idol Showdown. Have you given it a go?
I have not yet, but I've watched a lot of people play it.
Because, yeah, that's a game that you might enjoy, and Adam, you might also enjoy it, actually.
Yeah, it's got a lot of the competitive side of it is very balanced between all of the characters, but then it also has for like the single player a bunch of RPG elements. So Terry'd be like right up Terry's alley.
Yep.
Terry. What was it called?
It's called Idol Showdown. IDOL Showdown.
And it is a...
Is it on Steam? I think it's it.
Yeah, it's on Steam. And it's a pretty fun game as far as I've seen. I've played a little bit. I'm not the best at it, but I gave it a go.
And it's free.
Yeah, it's free. For the most part, the controls seemed decently responsive. I had a bit of issue, but that's because my controller always gives me a bit of issue.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely seems like a fairly good one. And with you guys both loving some quality fighting games, figured I'd make sure that you guys knew about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've heard Botan is pretty fucking overpowered, and so is Coco.
Which, hell yeah, both of them should be.
Apparently, Coco's like one of her supers takes up the entire screen.
Nice. She
But
is
one of my
the
favorite-
legendary dragon.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about it though is that when you start the single player campaign, you get a free item right off the bat.
Yep.
And the free item, you can get a choice of 4 things: ice armor, which helps you take less damage; glove cloak, which gives you combos by pressing the same button over and over and over again.
Yep.
A plastic ball that does nothing.
Yep.
And then a gladiator collar that gives you it's like everyone is harder, but you get better rewards from winning the fights.
Yep.
Now, for the people that don't know, all 4 of those items are a reference to Guild Tempest of the first Hollow Stars EM, guys. So, fuck yeah. So it was really funny seeing that.
Yeah, I love all the references in all of the fan games. Because Hollow Cure, the references, fuck yeah, they're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun because you'll get a new item and you'll be going, ooh, I know what this is about.
Apparently, also,
even if you don't get it, it's still just a fun game.
With Idol Showdown, they have a whole bunch of the other VTubers as well in it. They're just different skins of the same character. Like, you can play as Nico. Nico is a reskin, I can't remember of who.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that you also had a lot of them were the backup characters,
Mm-hmm.
which was a nice touch for that. Because then you can also get some interesting synergies from abilities.
I think it's kind of funny too is that some of the HoloLive girls have come on and like played Idol Showdown and were a little bit disappointed by the voice clips that they used in the game and offered to re-record voice clips for the game. And the developer said, "Fuck yeah, dude! If you want to do that, that'd be great." Like I know Botan did, and I think Corona did as well.
Yep,
yeah.
And one of my favorites is the developer of the game reached out to Ollie when he was making the game and went, hey, this might sound weird, but would you be willing to be a voice? And effectively he got halfway through the question and she was just like, yes, how much do you want me to speak? What do you want me to say? Let me speak. I want to do this. And he was just like, oh, okay. Shit.
I like the one touch from the one of the places where you can fight has references to all of the myth girls, but my favorite one is Gura because it's it's the Jaws poster, but instead of instead of the shark, it's Gura, and instead of Jaws, it says George.
Nice. But yeah, it's just ridiculously fun when shit like that ends up coming out because it's
and when it's a good game too. Yeah, like not just the fact that it's a game that has all these references in it, but it's an actually good game.
Yeah, it's a game that you can actually sit down and play and enjoy playing, rather than just something that you get and you chuckle at for a few moments because ha ha ha, I get the references, ha ha ha. Okay, I'm done. I'm never going to play this again. It's something that you can pick up, play for a while, come back, and dick around a bit more, get a little bit further, and actually want to play rather than just I'll do it, I'll support the person who makes it a little bit.
Well, the irony is that it's free.
Yeah. And I don't know, was there, for that one, was it completely free without any sort of like, hey, if you want to donate, you can do that here? Because I know for some projects, there have been like, yeah, the game's completely free, but if you want to donate something, toss some coins into the hat, here's the way that you do it.
Honestly, those kind of seem like a humble measure to do it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to craft your craft and then say,
I don't see any sort of link like that here on the Steam page, but I'm sure you could probably look up Besto Games and there might be like a Patreon or something like that.
Yeah, because I know that, like I said, there have been a few fan games of various things like that where the game's completely free, but they do give an option of like, hey, if you want to help out a little bit, here's a link. Like, I can't remember, let me quickly double check. I can't remember if Hollow Cure has that. But Hollow Cure is also a fan game that was made completely free, if I remember correctly, right?
HoloCure is on itch.io, which I believe you can either get for free or at any time you can choose to pay, however much you want for the game.
Yeah. It's one of those, the hat's out there if you want. Yeah, it's a free unofficial fan game. Let me quickly pull up the link and see if there is a.
Here's the disclaimer for HoloCure. We are not affiliated with HoloLive or CoverCorp in any way. This project was made while following all guidelines under the HoloLive Derivative Works guidelines. There is no monetization in this game. All visual and music assets are used in the game are originals made for this game. Specifically, all sound assets are bought and paid for with the license to use commercially and non-commercially. So, they're not even asking for money for HoloCure.
Yeah, I couldn't remember whether they had you can donate, because some of the fan shit does you can donate, some of it doesn't, and by fan shit, I just am using shit as a generic term, not saying that it's shit, because I actually really enjoy HoloCure. I'm a bit addicted to Vampire Survivor games. They're fun.
Hold on. You're saying you're not actually meaning shit? Like poop?
How dare you, Adam? So crass.
There's 3 different meanings that you can have when you mean shit. You can mean shit as in poop. You can mean shit as in just something that's really bad. Or you can mean shit as in just stuff, things, shit.
Hey, can I say I'm fighting Inquisitor right now? In
your ass.
game. I don't like the little fire bombs that she throws.
I never found a point to using those. Like for me, a lot of times they use up her magic meter in doing the aerial attack, the aerial flame attack. No, it's just me though.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I should throw more fire bombs. Maybe I might be better with her.
Well, it's quite effective.
The problem I've got is that, like, when I try to play Inquisitor, I try to be really aggressive with her, and she's the sort of character that if you are playing aggressive and you get past their guard, she can do immense amount of damage. But if they're turtling effectively, then their punishes is enough to completely destroy all momentum that you had.
So she's either, if you can get in, then you're good, but if not, she's really supposed to be played as a punisher, effectively, where
it's really kind of funny too, because
on other people fucking up.
The major thing is like she's got one where she's got like the most fighting game sort of move that you can do. It's a Z motion back and then her magic attack. She pulls up a flaming wheel, and it does immense damage if you hit someone with it. But it's also mega telegraphed, and if you can catch someone off guard, it's a good anti-aerial and a combo starter. It also can juggle too because it lifts you off the ground. The major problem is, again, they block, they're caught in the block, they're not going to be kicked out of the block because the move takes up such a large amount of the screen, and once the combo is started, it won't stop. And then afterwards, you need to either back off or you're going to get punished. She's very much like Saul Bad Guy in Guilty Gear, where he can do ridiculous amounts of damage, but he also sets him up to be absolutely bitch slapped if you fail a move.
Yeah. So it's you punish their bad action or they punish yours. There's no in between.
No in between with her, no. Because like almost all of her good combos are light attacks, so they're not going to be doing very much damage otherwise. So like her burst damage is either all or nothing. Whereas like with characters like Crusader, all of his damage is front loaded. He doesn't like have these big gigantic number combos, but like if you catch someone with a counter with one of my favorite moves, which is jump and heavy, he pulls out this gigantic hammer, which takes up almost half the screen and slams it on the ground. It's only a single hit combo, but it does like a sixth of their health.
Damn.
It's insane. He's like slow, but at the same time, is defensible in his slowness.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my favorites is if you do down.
Like Astaroth and Rock from the Soul Cal series.
Not quite, because they're too slow compared to Crusader. Crusader is faster than Rock and Astaroth. But the major thing for him too is that like, and it's not good to compare him to like Guilty Gear either, because like Potemkin is still slower than Crusader, and Potemkin can't jump like Crusader can. Mm-hmm. So it's weird. Crusader occupies this weird sort of like middle ground of like being the big heavy, but not having all of the bad limitations of the big heavy. If that makes sense.
I suppose it does, though. At the same time, I do slightly argue with the Astaroth and Rock are too slow, because if you know how to use them, they're scary. Scary fucking fast. Because
Adam is very good with Astaroth. I can say that with confidence here. It's just the fact that I'm so, you know, Soul Calibur used to be my jam. I've played it for so long that it's hard to like really kind of surprise me. But Adam's skill with Rock and Astaroth is good, but their moves are slow enough to telegraph quite easily.
You say that, and I know that you're good.
I do.
Because we played. Because when we played, you started with your second best character. I started with my second best character. And my second best was Astaroth.
Mm-hmm.
I won that match. You then beat me with your best character, and then I switched to my best character, Mitsurugi. And won 2 of 3. So,
nah, I think you're misremembering that, my guy. I didn't lose that many times to you.
No, it was 2 of 3
with
the mains.
I can show you how to set up Fightcade, and we can have a rematch on stream if you'd like.
Because I was up 1 the first one. We did a second match. You beat me with Siegfried, and then up 1 with Mitsurugi again. I've been like, yeah.
Dragon Knight.
Dragon Knight.
Yeah, in this DNF.
Uh-huh.
Dude, that was a good fight. That was just fought.
I like her, but
was she what?
She's got way too many like not big damage short pokes. Like she doesn't have enough big damage dealers. That's my problem with her. With using her. Let's put it that way. And maybe it's just down to the fact that I don't really know how to use her all that effectively. But yeah.
I'll give it a couple of matches. Oh.
It's like all of her lows and her mids are like her just poking. And it doesn't do that much damage. And it doesn't set up for a good combo either. I mean that's just my
well, yeah.
But like for Soul Calibur, I think I've gotten to the point now, playing Adam and my roommate and a whole bunch of other people. Either I'm incredibly out of practice, which is probably the case, or my skill has shifted away from Siegfried in the way that I used to play it. Because I used to like never miss a rook splitter, like from the initial attack. And you can verify it with Adam. I missed every single one of them fighting against my roommate.
Damn.
So either I'm incredibly out of practice, which is probably the case, or my skill has shifted into Cervantes being my best character.
Yeah, for me, when I played seriously, I played Mitsurugi main and Astaroth as my second. And my Astaroth, a lot of people when they play Astaroth, they kind of try to keep people at a distance. Astaroth is really at his best when he's nose to nose with motherfucker.
Astaroth's major problem, like I was saying before, is the fact that his moves are very telegraphed. So if you know what you're looking for, even being close up,
wines are definitely telegraphed.
Even his short moves, like any of his horizontal slashes, which are usually much quicker than his verticals, they don't translate very well into being able to not see them coming a mile away if you know what you're looking for.
Oh yeah, you have to build them into other shit. So his fast moves are his mill stomps and grapples. And then you use the mill stomps and grapples to set up the horizontals and verticals. And then you go from horizontals and verticals back into grapples because he's able to grapple anywhere. He grapples
everyone
flying.
Everyone can, yeah.
No, at least not. Is that new games everyone can? Because it used to be Rock and Astaroth were the only ones that could do aerial, standing, kneeling, and ground grapple.
Well, you can't aerial at all in the game because you can't jump in Soul Calibur, but
you can knock up, and that was the aerial grapple. And they were the only ones that were able to do all four. Because
for those those kinds of moves are catches, because Cervantes and Tocky also have those. And Siegfried and Nightmare.
Between those
and Sanguine and Killick.
You're talking about the stab through that Cervantes has, right?
No. I'm talking about aerial catches, like where you knock someone up in the air, catch them, and do do another move. Yeah, like all of those characters that I just named have those. Like a couple of them don't, like Zhongfa and Huang and Lizard Man and Sophicia don't. But for the most part, everyone else has some sort of aerial grapple catch.
I'm gonna have to double check that because I remember the big thing. At least
Cervantes has one of my favorites.
2 and 3. Was Astaroth or Rock, or Astaroth and Rock, depending on which game we're talking about, were the only ones that were able to do grapples from or against any position.
Are you talking about into a throw?
Yeah, the grapples are the throws in that.
Because there are other moves that aren't a throw, meaning not the double button combination.
Which is what I was saying if you were talking about Cervantes stab through, which is I've heard people refer to that as one of his grapples, but that isn't a grapple.
Well, that one's what it is that you double tap forward and hit horizontal slash. It's essentially like a throw, and in fact you actually have to block it like a throw because it is. If you try to just regularly block it, he'll hit you with it. Yeah, but it's not a throw because it's not a 2-button combo.
Yep. But I was talking about throws then to use the way that you're differentiating them.
Well, because
Astaroth and Rock were the only ones that were able to do those against any position.
But even then, I mean, it's setting up a throw combo, and they're the only two that have throw combos. If that's what you're talking about.
They're the only ones that had throw combos, and like I said, no. At least up until 3, I can't remember about 4 and later. They were the only ones that could snag the person off the ground and throw them from ground position.
You mean from downed position, right?
Downed position. Or kneeling position.
Nightmare and Siegfried have a downed position stab
That's a different move, though. Because
but it's still the same thing.
Rock, no, because Astaroth and Rock also have their down position stabs.
No, what they do is they have like maybe vertical hits that hit. But
no, they
see,
have the shovel scoop with the axe.
Sanguine. Nightmare and Siegfried both have a dual button combination from down position to walk up and stab, which is a full-on throw, and only works when they are on the ground.
Okay, I'll have to look into that because I remember that being the big thing about Astaroth and Rock. And like I said,
Astaroth and Rock have
ages.
Astaroth and Rock both have throw combinations, meaning when you activate a throw, you can hit another throw and extend the move and do more damage. Which is, at that point, also with the second button input, another unblockable, because throws are unblockable unless you counter a throw with another throw.
Yep.
But in terms of like exclusivity and stuff like that, no. The only thing that they have is combo throws. It's like Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive had a couple of those as well. The only combo throws that anyone had was Tina, Rock, Hayabusa, and Ayane. They were the only 4 that had combo throws. At least, Dead or Alive 2. Because when they introduced, what's his name? Oh, God. The Russian soldier dude. Can't remember his name now. When they introduced him, they got more combo throwers. But, yeah, for the most part, like they were relegated to only a couple of characters.
Dead or Alive. Dead or Alive and Virtual Fighter. I think I'm going to have to add these to the list of games that
Dude,
you gotta play.
You get me drunk and keep me up for over 24 hours. I'll become like a goddamn savant in that game in terms of like countering. Because here's the thing, like in Dead or Alive 2, when you hit back and block, anyone who's like doing a regular move, and what's funny about this is that DNF Duel also has this as well, specifically with Crusader. If you hit back and block in Dead or Alive, and someone throws an attack at the same time you hit back and block, you'll do a counter throw where you'll like do this extra sort of move and deal damage to the person, so their attack won't connect and you can do damage back to them. So like even in the middle of your attacks, if you hit back and block at the same time they're trying to counterattack you, you can counter them and hit them a couple times and knock them down. That's like a big mechanic of Dead or Alive. And when I'm in that sort of like fugue state, I'll become almost prophetic in how many times that I can counter you. It's just weird, because my buddy and I used to play that game constantly, nonstop. It was between Dead or Alive 2 and Dead or Alive 3. We played it on Dreamcast for Dead or Alive 2, and then Xbox, the original Xbox, for Dead or Alive 3. And it got to the point where like he would come over and we'd have like a pizza or something like that, and then we'd play Dead or Alive, and we would play it for like 8 hours. And then like at 5 o'clock in the morning, on a Saturday, in this sort of fugue, half asleep state, I would just, we would just get prophetic with each other, and we would never like actually hit each other. We'd constantly also just keep on trying to gauge when to counter each other, because that's how we would do all of damage. We wouldn't do any damage by like hitting each other.
Was Dead or Alive Xbox exclusive or?
Dead or Alive 3 was Xbox exclusive.
Okay.
And then Dead or Alive 2, I think got ported to PS2. I think. But I have it for the Dreamcast, which is obviously the best version.
Yeah, I think... Didn't it start off on the Dreamcast?
I think it was first originally released on the Dreamcast, yeah. It's that later on it got ported to PS2.
Troubled times, those ones.
Hmm?
Yep.
I mean, I'm sitting at a computer right now. I can check. Hang on. Dead or alive? Wikipedia, Dead or Alive 2. Oh, it was on the Naomi for arcade. Yeah, it was on the Dreamcast and PS2. It's the only versions.
I'll have to look into this later. But yeah, like I said, Astaroth used to be bread and butter to me, and Mitsurugi was my main because just all the shit that Mitsurugi could do. He was fucking.
Well, in the same way that I said before about how I used to like never miss my Rook Splitters, I also used to never miss my Mitsurugi's Dance of the Heavens. And I just can't seem to parlay that into an endless combo anymore. Either one of them, and I don't know why.
Yeah, he's one of those characters that was easy to kind of pick up, but not really pick up. It took fucking time to actually really crack into Mitsurugi and do Mitsurugi properly. But he had a move set that was nice enough to nuke, but then also had that depth. It was fantastic. I fucking loved Mitsurugi. And again, he was just ridiculous. If you could use him right, the combo of kicks that he had, all his stances and cuts, he was dirty.
I'll say he had 3 stances, which the only other person that had as many was Siegfried. And the major thing with Mitsurugi was being able to parlay out like his combos into stance changes, because then you could go into his unblockables from like when he's in the Bato Jutsu stance. A quarter circle head or quarter circle horizontal will be a unblockable.
Yep. I'm trying to remember because there was half moon, full moon, scorpion, scabbarded, and there was one other. Wasn't there?
No, I think that's it. And Siegfried had 2-handed, over the shoulder, 1-handed, and leading.
Because
I think they both had 4.
Full moon and half moon were temporary. Then he had his standard stance. He had the EA, and then he had the scorpion. That is all of them, right?
I'm trying to think of. I think that was it. I think both him and Siegfried had 4.
And for some reason, when you try to look up something as specific as Mitsurugi stances, which seems like that should be a very simple, these are his stances. These are the button combos for entering the stances. I'm not coming up with these are the stances. These are the buttons for the stances, which is fucking weird.
Well, the problem is that all the new Soul Calibur games, because then it'll break it down to all the new Soul Calibur games.
True. Let me do SC2, because that's the one that I played the most. And where's his stances?
Okay, I'm even looking at the Soul Calibur wiki right now. They don't even have Soul Calibur 1.
Yeah. Which Soul Edge?
No, Soul Calibur 1. They don't have Soul Calibur 1, let alone Soul Edge.
Oh, I thought you were saying that they didn't have Soul Edge. They don't have either of them? Shit.
They don't have either Soul Calibur or Soul Edge.
Because I'm used to things not having Soul Edge listed. Why is this?
Oh, sorry. I got it wrong. It's not Dance of the Heavens. It's Sky Dance.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait. I'm right. Sorry. Heaven Dance. And then Heaven Dance Delay are both of his attacks with verticals.
So, stances. Mist. Relic. Half moon, full moon. Oh, I forgot about... Well, that one... Do we count the false ones?
I mean, I wouldn't, for if it's just like an in-between frame.
No. Well, no, there's false half moon, which is effectively a half moon that then ends up being morphed, and you do have a move that you can do from that transition.
And right here, Mitsurugi has a downed throw. Kick, block, bullet cutter.
Okay, I misheard what you just said.
Oh.
Because I heard kick, block, bullet, fart.
Oh. Yeah, no, the move is called bullet cutter. And it's a downed throw. Back and kick block.
Okay. So maybe it's just the aerial was the one that was the strange one that they had, because I remember it was that they could throw a person from any position.
Well, like I said, there's like a lot of characters that can do catches. Like some of them are in effect throws, because essentially when you've knocked someone up in the air into an aerial juggle, they can't block. So it's an unblockable, whether it's a throw or whether it's a not. It's all essentially the same thing. Because
when I'm saying that they can do the throw, it is same exact button combo.
No, yeah, it's like I said, for some it's a like a throw combination, and others not. Like Tockies is let's see here, horizontal kick, horizontal, and I think down and horizontal. She knocks you up in the air, kicks you, knocks you up in the air again, and then dives down at you. And that's essentially an aerial, what is essentially an aerial throw. Because it's juggling you up in the air and then pushing you back down into a downed position.
Yeah, it is the one that becomes a bit of a question when it comes to the stances, is the false half moon of death. Because it could be counted as its own stance, but it also could just be counted as a shift between half moon of death and what move was it that it was? Because it was false half moon of death was you started the half moon of death, and then it ends up being. It starts as half moon of death, but then goes into effectively a full moon of death, but it's not full moon of death because it doesn't have the flames of full moon of death.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a move set that you can do from that form.
It looks like, in terms of actual stances, meaning like a full-on animation into a different stance that has the amount of the moves that can be done from that stance, is he has his neutral, mist, and relic. That's it.
And then half and full.
Well, the half and full are attacks done from the neutral stance. At least in terms of what I'm seeing here for his complete move list.
Okay, and most of the time I hear those two kicked out as their own stances as well, because the sheer number of moves that can be done from half and full.
Oh yeah, there's a shit ton of like the half moon of death, full moon of death, half moon slice, full moon slice, moon mask fake, full moon slash. You know, there's a shit ton of them, but in terms of the actual like stances from which that you can do different moves depending on which stance you are in, there's only 3: neutral, mist, and relic.
So the static stances would be the way that I'd refer to those. Okay, yeah, if you're counting static stances only.
Whereas here, let's see what Siegfried has for Soul Calibur 1. Siegfried has neutral, chief hold, base hold, and side hold. So Siegfried has more than Mitsurugi.
So were those not counting as neutral?
Well, no, it's got his neutral, chief hold, base hold, and side hold.
Oh, okay.
And Siegfried actually has neutral position to different holds depending on like button combinations. So you don't even need to do a move, and he can switch to a different stance.
You can
I think Mitsurugi has that as well.
Yeah, like if you wanted to go from base to relic, or not to relic to relic is the scorpion, right?
Let's see here. Mist stance is forward, and horizontal and vertical.
The sheathed, if I remember correctly.
Yes. And relic is back A and B.
Yep,
which is horizontal and block. Yeah.
Yep. And you can either do that as you hold them and you go into relic. You can also do Scorpion Sting, which is one of his moves. And if you do Scorpion Sting, a held Scorpion Sting, then you can do Scorpion Sting and return to relic.
Yeah. I believe that one is called Ticket to Hades.
That might be the name of it. I'm terrible. I just remember what I used to call the moves because...
A short and max hold is Ticket to Hades. So yeah, it's...
I was young and I just went with, this is what I'm going to call this fucking move.
Well, it's the like in game they didn't tell you the names of the moves, so it's like, you know.
Yeah. And Scorpion Sting is an easy way of identifying that move because it was rear back and stab forward.
Yeah, and the stances with the blade turned up over Mitsurugi's head.
Yep, exactly. But
Like I said, I know my shit when it comes to that game, man. That was my jam for a very, very long time.
oh yeah, I first got to play it when I got SoulCal. I'm trying to remember which one I got for my cousin, because I know I got him SoulCal 2 later. I think I got him SoulCal 1, then got him SoulCal 2. And then I got him SoulCal 3 when it came out. And for each of those, I just stayed up for like 2 days unlocking everything. That's one of the things that I remember very clearly from my childhood, just playing through those games. And that was when I figured out I really like Mitsurugi. Also, that was when I realized I have a weird way of handling range and short. Because if someone was using a really long weapon, I got him the PS2 version. So I would go in with Heihachi, the bonus character for the PS2 for SoulCal 2. I'd go in just bare knuckle brawling, and if they had a very long or a very short weapon, I'd go in a very long weapon. Long weapon got short, short weapon got long. But it is nearing that time. So is there any topics that you guys wanted to toss out and chat about, or shall we go towards winding down, since we have spent a fair bit talking about fighting games, both old and new?
I'm going to say that the fighting game Dino Rex deserves more shine in the spotlight.
See, if we're talking about underrated fighting games, what about Clay Fighter?
Hey, Clay Fighter's good too. I mean, I think they had one on the Xbox. I don't know if I've tried that, but post Tournament Fighter, Clay Fighter, yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, I just remember old school Clay Fighter and the insanity of that. Just how fucking weird everything was, and I loved it. It was such. I'm gonna play and I'm playing a little blob of clay. Okay.
And I think they're making a new one.
They're making a new Clay Fighter?
Yeah, where they're using like a After Effect to make it look like it's handmade models. So it looks pretty cool. I mean, at least what I saw.
Okay. Sounds interesting. A little bit disappointing that they aren't still doing the proper claymation shit, but that's kind of like getting mad at Mortal Kombat for not still just doing mocap and putting it, or not mocap, but FMV.
Well, I mean, with Clay Fighter, it makes sense. I would only hope that it gets enough money to spark a next one and maybe have some, actual clay models utilized for the production. But
yeah, go proper Wallace and Gromit on it.
Shit, no, not. I was thinking more. What is it?
Do you have a problem with Wallace and Gromit?
Yeah, because the faces look weird.
They're English.
Oh. Well, hold on. I mean, they don't.
I like how that was my answer and how you responded.
I didn't mean it to say that all English people look like Wallace and Gromit.
Misshapen potatoes.
Are those potatoes?
Yes, misshapen potatoes.
Dude,
Are
I
you
don't
going to
know.
say that he doesn't look like a misshapen potato?
No, he kind of looks like a Dr. Mario pill, but
Man, Dr. Mario. That was one thing that I remember very vividly when I was growing up. I would often go and visit my grandfather and grandmother during summer, and my grandmother got addicted to playing Dr. Mario. So I remember one time when I was staying over at my grandparents', they had the SNES in the basement. And it was kind of middle of the night. I wanted to play. I snuck down, and I just saw my grandma asleep in the recliner that was in front of the TV down there, with the controller still in her hands. Her eyes were closed. She was winning Dr. Mario. At like a fucking ridiculous level. Playing with her eyes closed, she was snoring, winning the fucking game. I have no clue how the hell that worked. But I vividly remember seeing that and just thinking, what the hell's going on? So it just became headcanon that my grandma only slept playing Dr. Mario. Sorry, strange thing that just immediately tossed me down memory lane. But you were saying, Adam?
what? Oh, yeah.
Before I went down memory lane, we were talking about Wallace and Gromit. You said he looked like a Dr. Mario pill.
Well, I mean, it kind of does.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you have any additional points that we want to talk about? Or shall we go to parting words?
Oh, nothing really comes to mind, to be honest.
Fair
But
enough.
so yeah, I guess parting
And-
words is where we're going.
How about you, Inquisitor? Anything that you have to talk about that you really wanted to chat with that we didn't get a chance to? Or good for parting words as well? I'm going to take the silence as good for parting words as well. So since you're unmuted, Adam, you get your first crack at parting words, and then I'll go to Inquisitor, see if he's back.
Well, shit. Oh,
Oh, my Bluetooth died.
oh, wow.
Bluetooth was back, and then he immediately eats himself.
Dude, his Bluetooth really did die.
Bluetooth's back, yeet. So, there we go. Is your Bluetooth back, and this time you aren't getting yeeted out?
I say my Bluetooth is still dead, but yeah, it's at least I'm back.
Okay.
All right, so Quiz, you go first, just in case.
What?
Parting words.
Parting
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yep.
Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
Nice.
There you go.
Adam.
Well, shit. Thanks for letting me on. I
Always
always have a blast hanging out and chatting with y'all, and I love y'all, and God bless, and night, ya, Debbie.
And I'll leave off with my standard. If you're passionate about something, make sure that you devour it. Don't let it devour you. And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed.
Bye.
Salud.
And now I click this, and